Back in 2019 when COVID hit, I went completely off the rails, putting on a lot of weight and just living a very unhealthy lifestyle. Then I found running, and it completely changed my life. Here's how it all started. The story begins back in the COVID times. I felt like people only went two ways during COVID. It was either they put on an unbelievable amount of weight and just lost their head, or they chose to better themselves. I definitely went down the road of losing my head. I went completely insane, put on an awful lot of weight, and my mental health was in shatters. COVID went on, struggling a lot. Eventually I stopped drinking, and all I managed to do was start running with my girlfriend. My girlfriend's family are massive into running, and she just basically said, "You want to go running with me?" one time, and I did. I had played GA up to this stage, so I had some bit of fitness. I wasn't coming in just completely raw dogging the sport. I could say with confidence that I was so unfit. I was so overweight. We started running in Blarney. We only did really short runs, like 5Ks, like extremely slowly now. But eventually I started to build it up a bit. It was 5Ks, then we slowly built it up into 4 miles, that kind of way. And I think we kept it around there. You know, a nice little routine. I think we did it like 3 or 4 times a week. It was something to do. The first thing I realized with it was it's extremely good for your mental health. I finally felt like I was finding stability again. I had a routine in place. You know, I was going to go do this run or whatever. The schedule we would do, we took Monday off. We ran Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think then we ran Saturday as well. And I think that's as much as we did at the very beginning. She was into running for a long time, so you know, she was able to do way more than me. But eventually we started to do a bit more. So we kept around 4 miles, but we made sure one of the sessions we did like 5 or 6. We then threw in a long run in there. Most runners know that that's like their most important day of the week is the long run. You know, my body was struggling after every single run. Like I was in bits, you know. It took me a long time, you know. I didn't particularly like doing it. One thing I liked doing afterwards is that we always got a coffee, and that always what drove me. Was like, yes, okay, after this thing we can have a coffee and a bit of food and be nice, you know. So that's what drove me for a while. Honestly, you know, I'll say this to all runners who are just beginning. It is at the very start. It is okay. You're not going to enjoy it. It could take like years until you start enjoying it, you know. That's why a lot of people give up, is because it's so bad at the start, and it is. I understand. So that's why was happened to me. I was like that, but like obviously I was with my girlfriend, so I had someone to drive me on. You know, that's what you need. You need to run with people. But that went on for a few months. Still struggling a good bit with like eating food and drinking and all that, though. It still kind of popped up the odd time, but the running kept me going. COVID ended and we were still running, but I had to obviously like go back to college and go back to working and all that. I made a nice little schedule for myself. Run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, either Friday or Saturday, and then like a long run on Sunday, and that was still only like 6-7 miles, really short. As I said, it's really starting out, okay? It's not going to be fun. The good part is afterwards. Like, you're never going to feel good during a run. Anyway, COVID ended and I got more serious into it, actually. Decided to take a year out of the GA and I wanted to just pursue running. I was going to have to start doing training sessions, so I joined a running club. Finally started to enjoy it because you're starting to run with people. You get to learn stuff from them, and you know, it's not just you running. You get to listen to them and learn from these people. Usually with any sport, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but like if you hang around with GA people, all they're going to talk about is GA. It's the exact same for running. You start to learn, and that would be my big advice, is just to listen and learn. I'd always ask them questions, just small little things, you know, what do you think is the most important thing in running, or stuff like that. I think it was summer. I had just gone to Portugal. I did a 5k, and this was after a lot of running, and it was like one of the best 5ks I've like ever done in my life. I was like, what? Oh my god. And I was in like the blistering heat in Portugal. That's what drove me on. I think the Olympics were on as well, so along with like getting a brilliant 5k, the Olympics were on. I was watching running. I was like, geez, that'd be so cool. Like, wouldn't imagine running in the Olympics and all that pushed me on. And when I got back from Portugal, it was running mode, okay? I can admit now that I have a really addictive personality. Ever since then, that was I think 2021, I think, it's been nothing but running. And I mean, I've lived and breathed running, okay? I'm gonna say this now, if you're getting into running, that is not healthy. I would not recommend doing that. I got so obsessed with it, like it was my life. I woke up thinking of running. I went to bed thinking of running. Every second I had by myself, I was thinking of running. I was like, what am I going to do next? How am I going to improve here? How am I going to improve here? I feel like though that's how like athletes have to think, but this was like stupid. Now, it wasn't good for me, really. A lot of mistake new runners do is that they throw themselves into it and they do too much too fast and they burn out. That's exactly what happened to me. So I came back from Portugal, set out a plan, and my plan was like, I started thinking in miles, like how many miles am I going to do this week? And it started small with like, I don't know, like 25 miles, 20 miles, something tiny like that. I then decided to just randomly bump that up to like 30 or something, and like that's too much. That's way too much. You shouldn't be jumping that high. Jumping like 10 miles in a week is stupid, okay? You should only be going up like what, a mile each month nearly. Funny enough, I actually made, I'd say, 10 vlogs. Basically, I wanted motivation, so my motivation was like obviously improving my 5k time, but I also made a lot of vlogs of just me talking about running, and oh my god, they're cringe listening back to it now. But like, anyway, you ask my girlfriend, she's the exact same. She'll tell you this man did nothing but running. Obviously, since I'm like that, I did improve. Like, I did like 35 miles in a week, and I kept that steady for a long time. I was learning a lot from people. I was getting way better in training, and a huge thing for running is consistency. Consistency is going to be your best friend. If you want to like get into running, you have to keep it going. That's like really bad thing about getting injured, and it's the same for any sport. Like, you get injured and it's going to set you back. Consistency is the main thing, but not to jump into that too fast. You know, that you see it with a lot of people, and like I'm included. You just jump into it because you think, yeah, I can go way more than that, but you can't. You know, you just can't. Okay, so don't do that. Yeah, I kept it up for about a year. For a full year, I think I went to college and I worked a bit, but I didn't care. I didn't care about college or working. I just wanted to run every day in college. Whatever I was doing, I was thinking of running. I was thinking about, can't wait to go home and run. Who says that? Who says I can't wait to go home and run? You know, it's again, though, I was doing it way too quick. Ultimately, probably about from summer 2021 to summer 2022, I improved, but I also got really badly injured. I really hurt my calf, and I was out for about a month, and that destroyed me mentally. I was just like, oh my god, what's the point? But again, with consistency, like, you know, if you do get injured, I think the main thing to realize is that it's not the end of the world. So what I did was, you know, I went to the physio. Obviously, she gave me all this plan, so I said, right, in my head I was like, okay, the best you can do is taking it day by day and just do the best you can on that given day. I made sure to like go on a stationary bike an hour a day, made sure to like ice my calf, stretch my calf, ice baths, Epsom salt baths, all that. But like, I can sit here and say I gave it everything for that month and a half. And that's what I'd say to you. Like, if you're injured, apply the same consistency that you would to the sport into recovery. You know, recovery is just as important. Since I worked so hard on the bike, you know, it didn't take me long to get back to where I was. It took me about another month to get back to where I was and then start to improve again. Obviously, it would be better to not get injured. You know, you're better off just take it slowly. I promised myself that I'd never do that again, like something stupid. Came to summer 2022, me and my girlfriend again, we were moving to Amsterdam. We lived there for the summer. It was a great trip. Building up to that, I knew it was going to be a huge challenge for me because I was like in my prime running. I had eventually gotten out of this like pit of despair where there was no progress, very slow progress, but like nothing big. All of a sudden, I just got extremely good at running. I just got so good at it. I was beating my PBs every single time I was running. I moved over and I had to adjust to running there, but thankfully I didn't have to work and I didn't have to go to college, so like obviously I could enjoy this new place with my girlfriend and run. I ran so much in Amsterdam. Like, that was a serious turning point in my running. I ran, I think I kept around between 42 and 45 miles each week. There was this lovely place in Amstelveen, a lovely forest called the Bosphorus, and they had this massive river thing for rowing. It was a huge, I'd say about a mile long loop going around in this forest, and I just ran around that, and that's all I did. I ran into the city the odd time. I pushed myself during that 3-month thing. The heat as well, it was so hot. I joined a running club over there. They were a bit more casual. Like, I was like a serious runner now. That's one thing I regret, that I was like so serious about it. This group kind of calmed me down a bit. They were just there for fun. They were good runners, really good runners, but they were just there to have a bit of crack. Like, they'd be like having beers afterwards and jumping into canals and all that. It was great. It was a really good experience. I'd recommend it to anyone, you know, if you're moving away, try and do stuff like that, you know, try and join a running club over there. My last day in Amsterdam, I did a park run and it was my best time. More motivation. I was like, yes, I'm getting better, so now I want to keep going. Came back from Amsterdam anyway. I had one of the best runs of my life there in Newmarket. I had a run of my life in Newmarket. I ran a 5k in about 17 minutes, but like my last PB was like in the 18 minutes, so it was ridiculous. Yeah, it just kept getting better, you know. It was just consistency. It will come. I had like a bad race, alright, during like Christmas, but it was like a day after Christmas or some stupid like that. My stomach was full of chocolate and like I didn't have a good run, but I think a lot of people didn't have a good run, obviously because it was Christmas. It's now 2023. It is March 2023 and I'm still progressing. I went back to the GA now, but I'm still running. It's incredible. Like, I'm still running these crazy miles and I'm doing the GA. This took years of building up. I've been running now like properly for 2 years. I've built a really good base for myself. Like, I'd recommend that you track your runs. Like, for the first year and a bit, I track everything, and you should be tracking everything. My advice for anyone starting so would be, don't jump into it. Ask someone what you think you should be doing and they'll help you. Consistency, you will see progress eventually. At the very beginning, you're not going to see any progress. I've seen nothing and it nearly deteriorated me, but as I kept going and eventually I had this huge progression peak where I just kept progressing. You will have this like year of nothing but like you're building up a base into running. That's the whole thing with it. Track your runs so you know how many miles you've done this week and how fast you've done them, or if you need to slow down or anything like that. And also recovery. That's my number one thing, is recovery. If you're starting off, like, I'd only recommend you run like 3 days a week. Do 3 5Ks in a week or something like that, and then slowly build it up. Like, you'll know when your body is like, yes, I can keep going, or I can't keep going. Take days off. Anyway, that's like my tips for people joining running. It's unbelievably good for your body and your head. I'd recommend anyone, like, if you're looking for a sport, I'd recommend running. Running is like the backbone of all those sports. Anyway, that's like my running story. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I wanted to say. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day and goodbye.